Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing today? Coming back at you with another video. Today is Friday. Hope everybody's having a blessed Friday. Gonna have a blessed weekend. Um, I heard that DMX has been confirmed that DMX the rapper has passed away. He, I guess, allegedly had um, a drug overdose. I guess he had a drug overdose and it caused him to have a heart attack. And they said he had lost oxygen for 30, I know I'm not saying that right, for 30 minutes. He was, on a ventilator for a while and um, they took him off and he was breathing on his own. So there was a little bit of hope. And then I was praying that he would that he would pull through. But as of today, it's been confirmed that he didn't make it. So my heart and prayers go out to his family and his children. He has, I think, 15 kids. Heart and prayers go out to his family and children. But I want to talk about drug addiction and how um, every um, person that's on drugs, every addiction has a story. Every person that is on drugs, there's a story behind that. And that's what I want to talk about. They said that I was on Robert Perkins. If you guys are, I don't know if you guys are subscribed to Robert Perkins on YouTube. I know I haven't watched his content in quite some time, but he came on Facebook and said that um, it was kind of a good question. He was like, "Well, why are people so sympathetic when it comes to celebrities? People are so sympathetic when it comes to celebrities that's on drugs, but when it comes to their loved ones and people that's close to them on drugs, they place all this judgment and want to turn their backs and all that kind of stuff." So I thought that was an interesting question because um, someone made the comment that well, it's a little different when it's a family member or a close friend or whatever because somehow it's going to impact your life. It's going to if you have a close family member or a friend or whatever that's on drugs, it's going to impact your life in some kind of way. They're going to be borrowing money from you and I have a story to tell on that. In his case, um, his drug addiction started when they said that he was smoking marijuana and somebody laced the marijuana with cocaine. And allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly, so I don't know for sure, but they said they allegedly laced his marijuana with cocaine, and that's what started his addiction. Plus, he had some childhood trauma, had some things going on in his childhood, and other things that he had going on in his life that might have the reason why he might have had some difficulties beating the drugs. But I was hoping and praying that he would come through. Not that I'm a huge fan of DMX because it's like two or three of his songs that I probably like, but I wasn't a huge fan. But I was just hoping, praying that he would pull through. Maybe this would be a wake up call to him and he would, decide to make changes. But I guess that it was a little bit too late. I mean, because you can only do drugs for so long because your body, after a while, particularly when you start getting older and the aging process starts taking place, your heart can only take so much of it. Cocaine is very bad on your heart, and the older you get, the more detrimental it gets, and it's hard on all your organs in your body. So your body can only take so much. You can only do that stuff for so long before it takes its toll on your body. That goes for alcohol or any substance like that. So it makes it very difficult because it's highly addictive. It's hard to beat the addiction. And I made the comment in one blog that unless we have dealt with addiction, it's very, very difficult for us to understand. Unless we have actually been on drugs ourselves, we have a very difficult time understanding the psychology behind addiction. It's very, very difficult for someone to I mean, first of all, they have to really, really, really have a strong will, and they have to really want to get off the drugs. And then, God, they have to have God. We can't do anything without God. So we need God to help them. But first they have to make the decision themselves to that they really want to get off the drugs. And they have to make it up in their mind. And if they don't make it up in their mind that they're ready to quit, then it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be very difficult for him. But with that being said, I have a story to share with you. I had a friend. Um, this was back in the 90s. Um, I'm trying to make a long story short because I don't want to make this video too long. Um, it's a long story, but I'm gonna try to shorten it up and sum it up for you. Um, I understand. I dealt with it. I was not personally on drugs, but I had a close friend that was on drugs. And so I got a firsthand look at what drug addiction does to people. I had an up close and personal lesson about what drugs do to people. And she was a close friend of mine. When I met her, I guess she had used before, and then she um wasn't on the drugs at the time when I met her, but then she relapsed and started getting back on them, and that's when all the nightmares started. And she boy they, she took me around the world and back. She took me around the world and back, literally. And she started back on the drugs. She started borrowing money from me. Now, at the time, I was on food stamps because it was my oldest son was little, and she started borrowing food stamps from me, not paying them back. That at that time we had the food stamps in the book, and I just felt like an idiot every time I would. And I'm the type of person that I have a very difficult time saying no. I still struggle with that even today. I have a hard time saying no to people, and then I'm the type of person that feels sorry for people, and those two things combined gets me in trouble, and I wind up making bad decisions. So that's just something that I gotta pray and ask God to help me with. But and at that time, I didn't have, even though I was a believer, I didn't have a close relationship with God. So I called myself trying to help her. But when it happens is when you're helping a drug addict, you're enabling them. You become their enabler. At that particular time, I was young and I didn't realize that. So I was basically becoming her enabler. And she was borrowing money from me. She had 2 children and she was living with her boyfriend. I was with my boyfriend, my ex at the time, and she took me and him because she was borrowing money from me, not paying it back. Food stamps, not paying it back. And at the time, I wasn't working. If I had a little bit of money I got, I loaned and I needed it back. She wasn't paying me back. She had me out there with her, trying to score the drugs with her. Yes, I was out there with her, helping her to score the drugs. I was assisting her and helping her. Was one of the worst decisions I've made in my life. And at the time I was with my ex-boyfriend, and she had him out there too. We were both out there trying to help her. And I kept telling my boyfriend at the time, I kept saying, I feel so stupid. I feel so stupid. And he was like, no, you're just being a friend. But he was wrong. I mean, I was enabling her. I was helping her to kill her. We were helping her to kill herself. We were helping her destroy herself. So finally, I put my foot down. She wanted me to come with her one night to she wanted me to come to her with her one night. And at the time my oldest son was little, to go score some drugs with her. And she wanted me to leave my son by himself to go with her to score the drugs. I got halfway down the street and something told me, you know, when they say when you get that first that voice in you, that's nothing but God. You better listen. That's your instincts, but I believe it's God. It was so powerful. Turn around and go home. And I turned around and I went home and I called her. I said, I can't do this, and she got mad at me. She got mad at me and everything because she wanted me to leave my son at home by himself. And I was getting ready to do it. That's what I'm saying. Not being able to say no and feeling sorry for people and all that kind of stuff. With those things combined, can put you in a position to make some very bad decisions. And that voice was so powerful. It turn around and go home. And that's exactly what I did. I listened to that voice. And sometimes I think today what would have happened if I had not have listened. We could have got to that drug house. That drug house could have got busted. We could have got busted right along with everybody else. I could have lost custody of my son because he was home by himself. So not only would she would have been caught up, but I would have been caught up too over something that I'm helping her with, being her enabler. And I called her. I said, I can't do this. That's when I finally put my foot down and I said, no, I'm not going to do this. And she got mad at me. And I remember I got really depressed after that because she got really mad at me. I don't know why I got so upset. I should have been relieved. But I'm not going to really go into, she has a very difficult childhood. I'm not going to really go into everything that she went through because she doesn't, she don't want me putting her business out there. But she had a very traumatic childhood. And so she had a very difficult time beating the drugs. And so she took me around the world and back. Literally. I remember being so stressed out at that time. I was so stressed out. I remember going to her house and she was smoking out of a TV antenna. Literally smoking out of a TV antenna. And she was on the floor trying to look for her rocks because she was on crack. And it was just so sad. It was just so sad to I got a firsthand look of what drug addiction looks like. And she was telling me somebody was threatening her. She gave me the story one time that, they gonna kill me if I don't get their money back to them. They said they gonna kill me. They got my address. They gonna kill me and my kids. So she, when drug addicts, they manipulate you. They lie to you to get you to give them money and all that kind of stuff. So I listened to that story and I, of course, got worried and want nothing happen to her and the children. So I gave her the money. So she was always coming up with stories and stuff like that to manipulate me. And it was terrible. I mean, it was like a nightmare. It was literally like a nightmare. And I remember not being at peace. I was not at peace. I wasn't at peace until, unfortunately, she actually wound up going to prison. And that's when I finally was at peace, when she went to prison. And I hate to say that. Because it's like when you're dealing with someone that is using drugs, and if you're their enabler and you're helping them, and it's very stressful on that person. That person that's the enabler. It's very stressful for them. And I remember being so stressed out, and I wasn't at peace because she was always bothering me, always calling me. Man, it was a nightmare. It was like a living nightmare. And but she had a very traumatic childhood. A lot of people that are on drugs, people are quick to judge them, and some women go into prostitution. It's because some women were molested when they were little, and it's some people had very traumatic childhoods. But there is a story behind every addiction. a story behind every addiction. And I remember it was really sad watching my friend. It was really, really sad watching her deal with this, go through this. And it was very sad. And then she was like, "Well, I wanted you to see it because I didn't want you to do the same thing." I'm like, I already know. I said I didn't need to see you doing it to know that that's not what I want to do. Okay, I already know that. I didn't need to see it firsthand. That's what I told her. So it was really sad. I remember it was this. I had so many emotions, mixed emotions going through me at the time. It was so sad seeing her go through that. I was stressed. So I mean, instead of judging the person, it's hard to love someone that's addicted to drugs. It's very difficult to love them because a lot of times they do lie, they cheat, they manipulate you. In a lot of cases, they're stealing from you. You're stealing from their parents. They're stealing from family members. So it's very difficult to love someone that is dealing with drug addiction. But there's a story behind every drug addiction. Every person, we all have went through things. I went through things in my life, but some of us have better coping mechanisms than others. And they say some people have like what they call an addictive personality. Some people have an addictive personality to where some people are more psychologically, some people are more prone to be on drugs than others. And some, people people that's might have been through the same things, but they didn't turn to drugs because we all have different coping mechanisms. And some people might not be able to cope as well as others going through certain situations in their life, and they turn to the drugs. And the best thing you can do for them, there's no easy answers. The best thing you can do for them is pray for them, try to encourage them to get help as much as possible, and do not enable them. Do not enable them. Don't enable them, but at the same time, don't completely turn your back on them. Pray for them. Try to encourage them to get help. And I know that's easier said than done, but because it's very stressful dealing with someone that's addicted to drugs. But it's very important for us to not judge someone that's addicted to drugs, whether they're a celebrity or not, because there's a story behind every addiction. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Anybody, has had, have you personally been on drugs, or have you dealt with someone in your family um, that was addicted to drugs? Or hit me up in the comment section. Let me know. Tell me your story. How did you deal with it? How did you cope with it? If you were on drugs yourself, did you take your family through things, or somebody in your family? Did you love them through it? Did you have to cut them loose? Or just let me know in the comment section if you have any stories like that. But yeah, this is sad. It's really sad, and it's a lot of people that's dealing with drug addiction, and the best thing we can do for anybody is pray for them. So comment, like, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the share button and the like button. And until the next video, peace and love. This is Sweet Jim.